How would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, biobiologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
This episode of Healthy Home Hacks is brought to you by Tech. Are you worried about electromagnetic fields in your environment? Do you want to rest easier knowing that you're protecting yourself and your family from dangerous radiation emitted from wireless devices in and around your home and office? Try LifeTune products made by Tech. Peer-reviewed and backed by science, Tech patented EMF modulation technology keeps you connected without the negative biological effects. Equip your phone, laptop, home, and even your pet with their easy-to-use solutions. Coexist with technology and visit Tech, that's AIRES tech.com to learn more and use code RL30OFF, that's RL30OFF, to save 30% of your entire purchase.
Everything is energy, and that is all there is. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Albert Einstein.
I'm super excited about today's show and guest. I was trying to come up with a title for this episode, but it was tough because this guest covers a lot of ground, including vibrational medicine, quantum alchemy, energy medicine, essential oils, plant vibration medicine, and so much more. You've probably heard the saying, energy flows where attention goes. So if you're listening and you find yourself feeling stuck in life or seeking a deeper connection, maybe ascension tools, natural healing, and chakra balancing, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to unpack these topics and share how and why you should cleanse your space and create more Zen in your life.
Author and expert in the fields of plant and vibrational medicine, Adora Winquist is a visionary in the nascent arena of quantum alchemy, an evolutionary transformative path for self-mastery, which facilitates healing at the DNA level. She intertwines the divine knowledge and ancient wisdom through her 20+ years as a facilitator, educator, formulator, and entrepreneur.
An innovator in the field of aromatherapy and energy medicine, Adora began her studies in the mid-90s when personal health challenges caused her to look beyond traditional methods. Her journey to Egypt and India deepened her study of esoteric practices and aromatherapy with leaders in those fields. Adora's education includes Rutgers University, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and the School of Aromatic Studies. Adora founded and built the essential oil brand ADORAtherapy from the ground up to a globally recognized and award-winning leader in the field of aromatherapy.
She is the co-author of Detox Nourish Activate, Plants and Vibrational Medicine for Energy, Mood, and Love. In 2021, Adora launched the Elixirs for Quantum Living. This groundbreaking trinity of infusions offer alchemical solutions to 3 aspects of existence to balance mood, energy, and sleep.
Adora is the founder of the Soul Institute for Quantum Living. Her passion is supporting women in the awakening journey of the divine feminine, encouraging women globally to source new levels of personal development. She is devoted to offering global ceremony, activating and uniting all kingdoms of life on the planet, plant, mineral, animal, and human. She is dedicated to the awakening and evolution of the consciousness of humanity.
Welcome to the show, Adora.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Ron and Lisa. It is such a true pleasure and delight to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you for being here. We're so excited. We had to trim that bio down and we still, there's so much we had to trim out. It was long.
It was high vibe. Let's put it that way.
I'm all about high vibe.
Yes, so we know. We're excited.
So speaking of which, we want to get right into it. We want to let our listeners know more about you and some of your offerings here. Can you share with our listeners why it's important to be intentionally aware of all surroundings?
This is a great question. Thank you so much, Ron. So here's the thing. Everything, as we know, is energy, right? And it's not woo. It's not airy-fairy. It's not even esoteric, although it is. It is grounded in physics. And so when we are in an environment, we influence the environment, and conversely, the environment influences us, right? Just like the concept of the microcosm and the macrocosm, which is one of my favorites. And when I'm thinking about infinite healing and sacred geometry, in particular, the infinity symbol, and how everything moves in waves, right? Back inward and outward. And so just as we're the microcosm of the macrocosm of the universe, the same applies to our environment. And if you've ever walked into maybe an office, a boardroom, perhaps even a home where someone's just had an argument, what does it feel like when you enter that space?
Awkward.
Mucky.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah, just awkward, heavy. Yeah.
Uncomfortable, right? Does it make you feel open and engaging, or do you feel a little lower energetically, a little bit of a depressive energy?
Yeah.
Does it make you want to close? Right. So this right here is such a prime example that we have all the time, and we don't even necessarily know it. I have this somewhat funny story. I used to work in frontline customer service in cable TV. This is way back in the 90s when I was living on Cape Cod, where I started my first business and healing practice. But before that, I was working in this corporate environment. So you can imagine frontline customer service for cable TV. What happens when someone comes in?
Oh, they're happy. They're so happy, right?
They're so thrilled. Like, what am I supposed to do with my children? Or how am I going to make it through the day? Like sheer and utter complete meltdowns that you can't even make up.
Yeah.
And so when they left, my coworkers and I noticed like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel good. I'm nauseous.
Yes.
My head hurts.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to do anything when I go home after work. I just want to go home and rest or be by myself. So all of these aspects are tangible representations of how powerful our environment is and how important it is to be aware of our energy field, to be protective about that, and be intentional about all of our aspects of living, not just when we're in our home, but when we leave our home as well.
Adora, I have a test question for you. So if we were so high vibe and we focused and we had intent for a great day and a great moment, we probably wouldn't walk in that conference room that had an argument in it, right? Would we avoid that whole circumstance altogether if we held our vibe high, or is that not true? Or do you still go into an environment and you're just not affected by it?
That is such a great question. I like to look at it again from multiple angles. So if we went into a situation like that and our energy field was sealed, right? I like to envision like a golden egg, almost like Tutankhamun's sarcophagus, if you will, of Egypt. Okay. But so if you imagine that and you go into an environment like that and you are feeling really high energetically, you're feeling really good, you're having an excellent day, everything is going your way, you're in the right place at the right time always, right? And you walk into that environment and your field is sealed, you can actually lift the energy that's in that space without it affecting you in a negative manner, which is really powerful. Because this is how we see we can not only be intentional about our particular energy field, if you will, our aura, our personal environment, and the environment of our home, but when we have awareness of how to work with energy, how to modulate that within our field, we can also enhance and lift the energy in other places as well. And so this becomes a really potent alchemical way that we can shift the energy around us and start to become the change that we wish to see in the world. And that way we're no longer victims of a situation, that boardroom that we walk in. We're actually changing the energy around us.
A beacon.
Exactly, that
Yeah.
beacon of light, of love, of hope. And if it's a situation where we're not able to modulate it in a positive, uplifting, elevating way, then we can remove ourselves from it and we don't have to engage in the drama or the heaviness and the discomfort and the disharmony.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
a great, gosh, I'm glad you asked that question, Ron, because I've wondered that too. We used to listen to Abraham Hicks a lot. And I went through a period where I was like, oh, I just can't be around negative people. I just want to be in a cocoon and just remove myself from everything. And she said, you can't live in a bubble. That's not the goal here, is to, stay isolated and just avoid the negativity. Because at the beginning, I thought that, oh, that person's toxic. I just won't hang out with them, or I won't do that and I won't do that. And it did start to feel a little lonely. And I was like, well, this isn't really working. And then I realized, no, actually, it's not about avoidance. It's about, I guess, what's intention of how you're going to, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about your intention, harnessing the power of the vital life force within you with your positive intentionality and the understanding and acknowledgement that you're a powerful creator being.
Yeah.
And when we do that, that really shifts the paradigm. It takes us out of any level of victim consciousness to a place of total self-responsibility for our life, for our creations, for our joy, our vitality, and our abundance. And that is an incredibly empowering place to be, because it gives us the ability to understand that if there are things that are in our life, because we all have adversity, right? We all have challenges. That's how we grow. Like a diamond, right, is created from the pressure of the earth around it. And so we are similar. And so we are these diamonds that require polishing. So we can come to understand our multifaceted, multidimensional brilliance as well, right?
Yeah.
And how we can shine that in the world, but also within ourselves, because it starts here. It starts with the way we love, we care for, we forgive, we hold compassion, we hold care, and we treat our bodies and our beings as temples for our light and our love.
Yeah, protecting it.
Interesting.
I remember Oprah, back when she had her show, had a sign in her office that said, please be aware of the energy you bring into this space. And I thought that was such a great, like, every office should have that. Every household should have that. That's just a very wonderful thing. And like a reminder, hey, yeah, my energy, right, affects everybody.
Such a reminder. I also think every home that has teenagers needs to have that sign.
Yeah, let's start mass producing that sign, giving it out for free. Hey, how about political conversations? Can we get some flyers?
Every boardroom needs to have that sign.
Right. And speaking of, because there is such a very, I'd say toxic political climate going on right now, that there's so much disagreement on contrasting energies right now. What would you say, like, how's a good way to handle that? Okay, so you don't deny your voice and your truth. So say you're at a party and you encounter like a group of people and none of them share your opinion, and you're starting to feel like a little cornered. Hey, listen, I'm sure every single person listening here has felt like that, no matter which side of the fence you're on. Maybe it's a family gathering.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you best handle a situation like that?
I think this is such a good question, Lisa. I love it. And again, I see it from multiple perspectives. So for an immediate answer, I think it's important to know that for intelligent and evolving civilizations to continue to be intelligent and evolve, we need to be able to have conversations. We need to be able to have differing opinions, right? Because that is the rich tapestry of diversity of who we are from the human perspective. And so being able to understand that I can be in my truth, I can hold my truth in a way that doesn't need to change yours. I don't need to convince you. I don't need to fix you. I don't need to make you think differently. I can just hold the space that your opinion is perfect in that it belongs to you. And we should all have the freedom to have our own opinion and to articulate it. And I think that that's really important. Now, from an alternate perspective, and this is where our connecting with our intuition is so profound, because with so many people out there with differing opinions, right? Disharmony, discord, uncertainty. So how do we know what's true? And again, this comes back to finding that place of authentic connection within ourselves, to be able to heal ourselves to the point, peeling back those layers of heaviness, of trauma, of density that we've carried, not just in this life, but through our cellular consciousness and DNA, what we carry for our lineage, our family heritage, because that's all connected to our belief system. And so when we can peel back those layers, let go of ways that do not serve us, and open to our own inner voice of wisdom, then that becomes a way that we can move forward. And in that way, I don't have to listen or believe to what you're saying or you're saying or you're saying. I can listen to what everyone's saying, and I can find the resonance of truth within me because I can hear my own voice.
Powerful.
And so I think that's just as important as being able to know that we have a particular perspective in a group of people that all may have differing opinions.
Yeah.
And it's also really powerful to notice how we get triggered.
Yes, I know. We get well, and it's
sure.
funny. Obviously, during the heat of, say, COVID and the election and all of that, I mean, the arguments on Facebook, you could feel the triggers as you're going through the feed, looking at stuff, and people arguing can trigger you. And I know it's ego. Like, I'm aware that wanting to change someone else's opinion is your ego wanting to be right. And even with that knowledge, you still get triggered. You still want to, you think out of the goodness that you're helping that person. I think everybody does, right? Our ego thinks, oh, I'm helping them because I'm going to get them to think like me because I'm right.
Yes.
Right? And there was a thing that flashed up, one of the spiritual people I follow, that said, don't engage in lower energy. And it was like my mantra during that period. Every time I'd feel the trigger, I would hear, don't engage in lower energy. You don't have to. You don't have to engage in those conversations, right?
You don't have to go there. And yet, noticing the places where you get triggered is a wonderful way to understand yourself more deeply and to see where conflict lives within you. Because it lives within all of us, right? It's easy to name it outside of us and blame it, but until we can come within and reconcile the places of conflict within us through understanding them, understanding their roots, understanding things that we've carried from early childhood, things that we've carried through our family lineage, and being able to let go of the limiting belief systems, thoughts, and emotions. Until we can do that, we're never being truly authentic to who we really are.
Right. I think we have an authenticity issue with social media because right? Social media has created, it's great. I mean, I was thinking about all the wonderful, like this Zoom call, I mean, it's technology and all of these great things that we have now that we never had before. And yet you have a lot of negative comparisons and mental health issues and competition and comparisons on social media. I feel like no matter what age group you're in, you're kind of, as someone said, you're seeing everybody's highlight reel, not their behind the scenes. You're seeing the highlight reel. So you're always seeing the best of everybody. Imagine like you're having a bad day and you feel like you're the only one in the world, right?
Right. And so how much of an over-reliance do we have on that is our sense of engagement and connection and community, because it's a facade.
Yeah.
Right. So until we can put down the phone, go back out to the earth, walk barefoot, have a walking meditation, doesn't need to take an hour, but where you take in the beautiful sights and aromas of the earth around you, and that you let your body receive all of the oxygen and the nutrients from that level of connection and connecting with people in sacred community. Like I have 2 retreats planned this year that are filling up so quickly because people miss connecting, really connecting, where I can lean into you, you can lean into me, I can be myself, I can be vulnerable, I can be raw, I can be open, I can be messy, and it's okay. Because you have parts of you that feel the same way too. And when we share them with each other, then we all heal together. We all transform together and we elevate together. And
when and where are those retreats?
I know where they are. Mary Magdalene retreat in Italy.
Oh, nice.
Southern France.
Oh, France.
Wow.
South of France. Yeah.
South of France. We're going to be tracing the ancient footsteps of Mary Magdalene in Provence in some of these beautiful areas like the Camargue, like St. Maximin in the Pyrenees Mountains in Montségur, visiting these ruins and beautiful basilicas and sacred forest. I'm going to be doing healing ceremony every day with the alchemy of the essential oils and the crystals and vibrational frequencies. And then my colleague and sister in France will be teaching, Veronique. She's not really my sister, but my sister of this sacred community holds a beautiful piece of history around Mary Magdalene. So she'll be sharing her rich knowledge at all of these beautiful places. And this is the second
That doesn't
trip.
make you want to go. I'm ready to sign up.
Yeah, it's amazing. Please come. Both of you come. Because it's open to men. We have men and women.
Oh, I love that.
Joining.
So many of these things are
I can
just
bring
women.
the masculine. There you go.
You can bring the masculine.
The divine masculine. I know a lot of these things are just women. And I'm like, no, I want my husband to come because Ron and I we practice spirituality. It's a huge part of our marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of what you were talking about, well, we call it the shielding. We do a shielding technique when we sleep. We put that gold pillar of shielding and something that's become And what a difference when I don't do it. Like if I fall asleep without doing it, major difference.
Yeah.
Not Ron. He's like straight A student. He never misses a beat.
It's a nice way of saying I'm anal, right? Very good.
My next question is, how does our everyday activity, you kind of touched upon with nature and forest and grounding, how does that affect and the space around us? How does our environment, how does that affect us?
So I don't know about you, but I have a home office. And then, of course, I have 2 children that are homeschooled. And so my home right now seems to be my main universe. And so what is one of the most important things about this space? Well, it's cleaning the energy. Because the energy of your environment isn't clear, if it's cluttered, if it's dusty, if the windows aren't clean, if those closets and drawers or the refrigerator in particular has old food or dirtiness or things are
mold.
Old, then it's old energy. So clearing the energy consistently is so important. And so, even thinking back to the conversation I mentioned about the cable office, well, that brought me to a point of creating an essential oil formula to clear the energy, right? And so we have these tools from nature, the essential oils, burning sage, crystals in the home and the office, even in your car. Little sacred geometric images are wonderful ways, and even mantras through music, right? Through that vibration, continually clearing the energy around you is going to help to keep it clear in your field. Field, but not just your energy field, your physiology, your mental bodies, your mental clarity, your focus, your concentration, your endurance, right? Your ability, if you have a clear space to work, to think, to play, to dream in, then the clarity around you and within you increases exponentially.
Yeah, it's so true. This has been something that we've really focused on from the beginning. Ron and Lisa has been around 15 years. And yeah, God, making me feel old here.
You look so young, both of you.
It's the light.
We're 21. Thank you, Adora. That's really nice of you.
And we have a lot of articles on our website about decluttering. And I remember when the articles first came out, there were a couple readers that said, it's okay to have messy, it's okay to have a messy house. And I was like, no, it's not about a mess. And the dust isn't about a mess either. The dust is actually toxic, but that's a whole nother topic. The dust actually has a lot of chemicals in it. And there were some guest writers that wrote that were professional organizers that said, every time you walk by that clutter, that pile in the corner of your bedroom or the pile of books, every time you walk by that, you're getting a negative reinforcement in your mind. Oh, I need to do that. I need to clean that out. Oh, it's the clutter. And think about that on a bunch of levels. You have your laundry pile, you have your dirty, piles of papers and books. You have, like you said, the dirty window that just nags at you or the kid, and so when you do clean that, how light you feel, like you can physically feel that, right?
You can physically feel that because what you just mentioned, Lisa, creates anxiety. Yes. And right now at this pinnacle of mood-based discontent on the planet, do we need any more anxiety?
No.
Right. So every intervention, every way that we can clear it, all of the modalities that are available to us from plant, from crystals to vibrations to alleviate, to bring more relief, to allow us to feel better. Because what happens when we feel better, right? It becomes a stepping stone effect.
Yeah.
For greater and greater, not only feeling, but that becomes our point of magnetizing further experiences, interactions that feel good, feel great.
Yeah. We had a couple relatives have very severe illnesses over the last few years. And going into the hospital setting was extremely shocking because you've got these loud, you've got bright lights, you've got so much noise. You don't really have a lot of color in a lot of the rooms. They're very bland, white sheets and white walls. And maybe there's a picture. They're lucky if they have a window. And if they do, it's probably not a great view. And I said to Ron, if anything ever happened to me, I want aromatherapy in the room. I want healing music. I want colors in there. I mean, because I'm shocked that hospitals aren't more of a healing environment that way, right?
Yeah.
It's just like distressing. As someone coming in there to see a patient, it's distressing. I can't imagine what they're going through.
Well, exactly. And what you've just said is you want to create the conditions conducive for healing and the rest for the body to move through its innate process of rebalancing, of achieving homeostasis and well-being, which we are programmed and designed to do. So that environment in a hospital is so important, right? And again, any place that we can bring in live plants, pure essential oil formulas, like, you spray that has pure essential oils, not synthetics, not chemicals. When you can bring in your crystals, those are all ways that you can create the conditions for harmony, for well-being, for vibrancy in your life.
So this is how we can actually cleanse our internal energy, space energy, and even digital energy by doing some of these things.
Exactly. Like I always, because I am at my computer sometimes 12 hours a day. So I always have sprays to clear the energy. Like this one happens to be gratitude as a reminder throughout the day, because gratitude, one of the highest frequencies on the planet for us to co-create with. When we can be more consistently in the energy of gratitude, then we are again attracting more things to be grateful for. So I always have this at my desk. Right now I have a Mary Magdalene, right, as I'm preparing for the trip. There's another one called Clear Alignment because it helps to clear the energy. Now, certainly you can make your own if you are an essential oil aficionado. I always have a number of crystals, a lot of pieces of selenite.
Oh,
great.
beautiful.
By the computer.
Well, explain to us how the crystals work. So just by having them near you, they have an impact on your energy field.
Exactly.
Right?
Because again, these have frequency, they have energy. I think some of the questions when people...
I think I just got that one. Yeah.
Oh, the selenite? Oh, I love it.
I think I got it because I ordered sorry, I'm diverting for a second.
Okay.
We were lighting sage. Ron and I were literally lighting sage every single night before we went to bed, just cleanse the space. But it was, it's messy. It was getting ash everywhere.
Right. It's totally messy.
I mean, once in a while, but doing it every night, it was starting to get messy. So I found this sage essential oil spray.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I was like, oh, this is so much better. It's not quite the same smell, but it smells really good. And it came with one of those little sticks. And I was like, what is this? I've never seen this. Because I'm not really running there super into, we don't really know enough about crystals.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
But you have the selenite, which is great. So you can place them by your computer. Selenite helps to transmute negative or heavy energy. Some other crystals that are great to have around the EMFs and the 5G are going to be black tourmaline and shungite. Those are two of my favorites.
We have those.
Those are excellent to have. But I think it's really important for the people that say, oh, crystals, like that's just so airy-fairy. Again, if we consider like quartz crystal, one of the most popular crystals, right? It is an incredible transmitter, conductor of energy. Right. It is in communication devices that the military use. It is in our computer chips. It is in our watches. This is for a reason. Yeah. So again, I think the myth debunking can be really fun because the truth is people just don't know a lot of these facts.
Right. We weren't brought up learning about that. Most of us are very detached from that part of nature. We weren't taught about that. And it was maybe, if anything, shunned, or like my mom would take me to little spiritual fairs when I was in high school.
Oh, cool.
I grew up with that influence, but my mom was not the normal one. She was like the lady that went to the spiritual fairs. And
But before that, she was in the convent, though.
she was in the convent before that.
Wow. What an interesting story.
I know. She's had a very interesting life. And so interestingly, I got both sides of that upbringing. This very Catholic, we're going to church every week. And then on Saturday, we'll go to the spiritual fair.
I love that, Lisa. That is really cool.
It was cool. I mean, I saw psychics when I was in high school and all of this kind of stuff. So I'm very open-minded. I tell Ron, I'm incredibly open-minded. You probably couldn't tell me much that would surprise me, which I think is really important, to be open-minded, right? Because that's how we get stronger and get more knowledgeable. And it's been a really great gift, because I wouldn't know so much if I was just like, no, this is the way it is, you know?
It's so true. I think the moment that we start to think we know it all is the moment we
get the bonk over the head from the universe.
Exactly. And also it's such a misnomer. I feel like I'm a lifelong student of so many things in this life, and even in my work, right? Because I believe that these fields of study are lifetime fields of study. And even though I've been teaching in them for over 25 years, there is still always so much more to learn. And I love that about life, that there is always more to get, to experience, to let go of, to transform, to transmute, to awaken to, right? To unlock within us.
Well, speaking of transformation and awaken, I don't know if you believe this. I'm assuming you do, that the earth itself and humanity is ascending to the fifth dimension plus, right?
Yeah. Is that your viewpoint too?
Do you believe
Absolutely.
that? Okay.
Hallelujah.
Do we need to clean our space because we're just going up anyway? Do we worry about the third floor if we're going to the fifth? What? Oh, we do.
Yeah.
So we're making sure we get to the fifth floor by cleaning our space.
Wait. Are we there, or are we in the transition?
We're already there and beyond.
Oh, yay. Case closed.
And also with that, there's still a caveat, right? Because we have this longevity of habit of our lives to date. We have practices that may not serve us. And if we aren't ready to let go of them, if we choose to be in denial that they're there, then it's going to be a faster trip up in these higher dimensional frequencies, because energy is moving faster. Thoughts are creating more quickly.
So fast. I've noticed it. Ron and I noticed it. Yeah.
So fast. So if we aren't aware of what's going on within us at the subconscious level, as well as what's going on around us, that we're not attending to the matters of our mundane existence, then we haven't mastered the third dimensional reality. Right. And so even if we're moving fifth, sixth, and beyond, what have you, if we haven't mastered the lessons that we came into this life to master and evolve from right now, we're going to have to go back and clean that up. Right?
We're still in the 5D, but still working on it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because you can feel those things rearing their ugly head.
Yeah. You can feel them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be the nudge, the whisper, the thing that you get over and over and over, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So does the fifth dimension, does it just feel, it's almost the same world, but it feels lighter and just easier to be, or will rainbows form?
Our unicorn's going to appear.
Okay.
You
I'm waiting for the unicorn.
absolutely see rainbows. You know, I had this experience after the France retreat last year. We did the first Mary Magdalene retreat. My colleague, who I think would also be an excellent guest, she and I went to Glastonbury, which is incredible. We decided to pop over to Stonehenge while we were there. But while we were in Glastonbury, which, if you haven't heard of it, is also known as Avalon, the area of King Arthur and Camelot.
Nice.
So it is like walking into a different planet. All of these very fairy-like energies and individuals and stores. But when we were at the Abbey there in Glastonbury, the colors in the sky went from vibrant yellow, pink, purple. The energy is, I would say, a little bit more rarefied or higher vibration than, say, a Manhattan, if you will, right?
Okay.
The city has a lot of density, right? A lot of that.
I call it gray. I just see gray. Yeah.
Like the third dimensional construct is still has a hold in some areas more than others. But this area in particular in Glastonbury has a very high frequency. So you start to see things that you wouldn't necessarily see in your backyard, if you will.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And have experiences that are very like, wow, I was just holding this intention. And here's a person, less than a minute later, we're having the conversation and I'm being directed to this. This is where I say that miracles or some people refer to them as magical experiences are actually part of the norm from this multidimensional perspective, right? And that's why it's so important to clear our container, to let go of the past heartache, heartbreak, all of the things that stop us from being fully open, fully giving and receiving love, being compassionate, right? Being present, being receptive to align with the cosmic and earthly forces of benevolence, because everything in life is creation and everything in creation is co-creation.
Yeah.
Right. Think about it. Think about how we got here, the co-creative connection of our parents.
Yeah.
And so on and so on and so on. Well, co-creation requires an invitation, which means we have to invite in the support of the universe, of our benevolent allies, our spiritual teachers, our guardians, our angels, all of those beings, physical and non-physical, to bless us, to protect us, to illuminate our highest path.
Because law of free will, right? We have to actually ask for help, ask for guidance.
We have to, yeah.
And we I don't know if you've heard Florence Scovel-Shinn, if you like her work. Oh, you got to check it out.
Oh, I will.
Right after this.
She's from the 1920s. She's
Florence Scovel-Shinn. The book is, there's a bunch of books. The Game of Life and How to Play It is one. The other one is, Your Word is Your Wand.
Oh, I like that too.
There's a few more. You'll love them all. Anyway, we cheat and we listen to the YouTube video that they narrate it. And you have to, everyone listening, it's the one by Lila. Lila narrates it, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Just Google it on YouTube. And oh my God, it's so good. It's really so good. It's crazy how old it is because the information is just so relevant. But she says, what does it run? Bless those who've wronged you. Bless them.
Yeah, bless them. Because if you bless them, they can't even hurt you.
Yeah, they can no longer.
So true.
And we all hear about forgiveness, but sometimes, especially when you're really mad at someone, you're like, sure, I forgive them, but you really didn't, right? But the blessing I felt like was more kind of doable, especially when you are newly having a conflict with someone, because you're blessing them, you're sending them good energy, but you don't have to let that energy affect you anymore, right? Yeah.
Because on some degree, they've been your teacher.
Right. Yes, they are, right? They're some of your best teachers, right? It's so interesting. This conversation, I could go on with you.
We can go forever. I certainly want to get the cleansing mechanism and stuff too, but I have one quick question in regards to you said we're in the fifth dimension. I had read in multiple places that there's this, and I don't know if you believe this, but a bifurcation. Okay. So it's like we're all making choices whether to be in this new world or the old world, and we can see everyone around us. Do you believe that? And if so, can you elaborate what bifurcation means? Maybe you kind of did in a way, or?
Yeah, this is such a great question. And sometimes this is a very difficult part of evolution and awakening, that we will have some of those individuals in our lives, sometimes even in our family, that aren't ready to let go and move beyond that 3D matrix reality, right? With the blinders.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a real opportunity to bless them, right? To honor, not attempt to fix or change, because everyone has their own path and where they are on their spiral of awakening, of healing, of transformation, and of self-mastery, right? And so what you've come in this life to heal and understand about who you are at the soul level is going to be very different than some of those in your life. And ultimately everyone, right? To some degree, but there are points in similarity in those. So we have to be willing to carve our own path and follow that with our truth and faith and trust and surrender.
Will we see them in the new
Powerful.
world that's started? Will they be there with us, or will they be separated from us? What is that new, if you know, what does it look like?
The way that I sense it, it's not like, oh, well, they are going to be on a different planet and yet they'll be in a different plane.
Okay.
Did you ever see or read The Celestine Prophecy?
Yeah.
These books were wonderful. They came out many, many years ago. Unfortunately, the author's name is eluding me, but I can remember when they made a movie out of it. And I let my children watch it. We watched it together.
Oh.
And there was the one scene at the end where the main individual could see these beings that were always there. Remember that?
Yes.
But he couldn't see them before because his level of consciousness
Right. Doesn't he
was
go
not
into
at that level.
does he go to Shambhala or somewhere in the mountains or, right?
Yeah.
He's seeking the city, the last city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Wow. Okay. That's a good reminder. I forgot about that part.
Need
That
to
was
read
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really speaks to consciousness. And when we awaken to certain levels, we can see so much more. And then we realized, oh, wow, I had no idea.
We're going through that. Ron and I are going through that. This is such a simple thing, but I'll share it because it's really kind of been interesting. So, and I've just talked about this on the podcast. Ron and I, before COVID, we were gym people. We did yoga. We went to the gym, but was always indoors. Our physical fitness was always, and we live in Southern California, a couple miles from the beach with all these beautiful hiking trails. But for some reason, we just were gym people. And so the gym closed, obviously during COVID. We were forced to get out and start hiking. So we started hiking like several times a week because heck, we don't have any other way to work out. And little by little by little, it's been this planet, that we didn't even know existed. We've become friends with these animals. Literally, we've named them all because come to find out, these animals stay in the same little area. We didn't even know that either. There's our 2 hawk friends. Okay. We see them every time we hike. We've got the bunnies now. Yes, we do feed them. We feed them. So that helps.
I love that though.
They like food.
They like lettuce. We bring them organic lettuce. They're spoiled. And we have names for the bunnies. And then we've met this mouse. And then we've met this little hummingbird that literally started playing with us and interacting with us. And it's the craziest thing, that's hummingbird. I mean, he literally would wait on the tree for us. And as soon as we got out there, he'd dance around us.
And we weren't feeding him. He would just do this dance all the time.
He would just do that all the time.
Amazing. I love it.
And it goes on and on and on from there. Now we have a hummingbird feeder. We never had one before. And now we have these hummingbirds and they have names. And they're the hummingbirds, the 3 hummingbirds that come and we know them. And I'm like, Ron, it's like there was life. I said to Ron the other day, there was life before the hummingbirds and life after. Yeah. I didn't know anything about these birds. And now I know so much about all these beautiful creatures that were always there. I just drove by in my car. I looked at the pretty hills. I didn't know all this was going on. It's really spectacular. Yeah.
That is so beautiful, Lisa.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I love that story. So I write for our Friday newsletter and definitely welcome you to join our newsletter at the site because we have this incredible Adora Alchemy library that's launching in a few weeks. And a lot of it is for our complimentary quantum community. But I was writing this piece a little over a week ago about how the birds are my protectors, my guides, my harbingers of signs, symbols, and wisdom. And how I've always had this connection to, in particular, to eagles, and how I've had experiences in some incredible moments, including in India, but even here at home. And so these creatures, these beautiful representations of spirit in the animal kingdom have much to share with us, to teach us, but so much healing and wisdom and insight to offer us as well. And so the hummingbird, how beautiful, right? Because it awakens the places of magic and playfulness and joy within us.
Oh,
right?
so much.
And so what a reminder and gift for you and Ron in that.
Yeah. You can't not smile because they are such a joyful, joyful bird. And the one thing, like you said, we've noticed with all these animals, they don't ask for anything. They don't take, animals. I think sometimes people get a bad rap, like they're all killing each other. No, they're not, and if they have food, they would never do that, that survival energy, like humans have it too. I mean, humans kill animals too. We don't because we're vegan, but, but you know what I mean? And just watching the beauty and the way they're so gracious. Aren't they so thankful, Ron? Sometimes you feel like they're almost give you a nod, every time.
Magical. Yeah,
it's this magical land. And I forgot about the 44 doves that Ron. Well, we had doves nest on our balcony 3 times. So we had 6 babies born. This is one of the things that started during this process too. We didn't know one thing about doves. And now we know everything. Like I need a dove blog. And Ron, the baby's born and we had to protect the babies from crows and things. And they all survived. And Ron now feeds the wild doves. And they are, there's no wonder that they're known as the love and peace because they take nothing. They harm no one. They are just a graceful, gentle little being. And yes, we have 44 doves in the neighborhood that we now feed every day. So this whole world opened up to us that we, and I'm so glad because I was watching the TV screen at the gym or, you know what I mean? It was just it kind of that you talked about that energy, just like that, the dead energy,
Well, what a beautiful reality that you are creating for your home, for both of you and everyone that comes through your doors.
Yeah. Everyone now gets to meet all the animals. We're like, oh, there's so-and-so and there's so-and-so.
Well, thank you. Now we want to meet the eagle like you have.
Yeah.
Right?
The eagle sounds great.
Call it in.
They are teachers.
Call it in.
Call it in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to call it in when the doves aren't around, right?
Right.
That's right.
He might not be too nice. Okay. Well, going back to the cleansing of the space. So we talked about crystals as a tool. What other ways can we cleanse? Smudging, music. We talked a little bit about that. Can you give us some quick tips on how to cleanse?
Yeah. So quick tips. We did the essential oils, the aromatherapy sprays. We talked a little bit about sage or Palo Santo or even other, like even pine I like to use for clearing. If you can get yourself a stick where it's not a fire hazard, of course.
Really? Pine sticks? And you can light those?
I like pine. You can even very affordably make your own incense, right? Make your own granular incense. So you can get your sage leaves. You can get little pieces of sandalwood, of cedarwood, of Palo Santo, even lavender. Copal is wonderful as well. Frankincense, myrrh. You can blend your own incense. Here's a DIY for all of your guests that you can blend them together in whatever ratio feels good. Then after you can bless it with your intention, right? My intention is to consecrate and bless my space and all that enter it with light, with love, with healing, right? And then you can get those little charcoal discs. They're about this big. So you can get them for like $1 a pack for 6. You put them into I have this right here. It's very old, but I put mine in here. You would light your charcoal stick on fire and then you just sprinkle your incense on it. And then you've made your own that's very affordable and even more fun to do and empowering because you made it yourself, right? Yeah. So it has special energy that you infuse for your home, your office, your environment, and all of your loved ones.
That is beautiful. I love that. You said earlier with essential oils, there are some, you have a line, right? You have your own line. I have a line. Yeah. You have your line. Find it, a curated line of essential oils, which is essentially the best of what you can find in the global marketplace in terms of purity and vibration. They come from all over the world and they're based on my 20 plus years of sourcing relationship. So you're really in for a rare treat, especially if you're interested in some of the rare and precious aromatics like true rose, champaka, cistus, which is an incredible healing ancient oil from the Bible, really helpful to release.
What does that heal specifically? What would that be?
It's really helpful for healing past trauma. Ooh. So experiences that you've had throughout the course of your life that you just haven't been able to quite shake. Like when we have that pattern that keeps coming up and you're like, why is this happening? This isn't what I want. Right. Yeah. We all I know I want something different, but here this is again. So cistus.
What's the name of that oil? I got to write that down.
What is it again?
It's called cistus, Cistus. Okay. It's also known as rock rose.
Okay.
And you sell that. Yeah.
And I sell that. And it is an incredible shapeshifter. Let me just give you this brief story because it was amazing. So we were on the first retreat in France last year. First day of ceremony that I was conducting on the beach in Marie de la Mer, where Mary Magdalene first came.
Wow.
And so I had the cistus. I was starting the meditation. It was the first oil that the group worked with. And so as I passed it to the person next to me, and I was asking her to inhale it because that's how we get an immediate shift in activation in the brain, the nervous system, and our energy field. I could see the vibrational pattern. Like the oils have like a sacred geometry or patterning about them. But as soon as the molecules hit her energy field, it shape shifted. It was like it shifted into exactly the spirit medicine that she called in for her being. It was a profound moment and realization for me, deepening, talking about learning more and more and more. Yeah. It's such a profound experience of understanding how potent the essential oils are because they are the most potent form of plant medicine.
Yeah. It's what we had before we had pharmaceuticals, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Yes. Right. It's funny. People think it's like, and going back to that woo woo. No, it's what we had first. It's kind of like organic food. People think, oh, it's so expensive. It's what we had before we used pesticides. It's going back to
GMO
nature. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
All of that. That's a beautiful
I love
story.
to collect ancient medical texts, and the pharmacopoeias from like the late 1800s, early 1900s are all plant-based, right? This is where we found our medicine.
I love it. I've always been a big believer in that. Nature has all the answers. I mean, even synthetic pharmaceuticals are typically derived from nature, right? And then they make them a synthetic version of it, right? But they are typically, isn't it? Gosh, what was that movie we saw around about the Amazon? Like how many plants?
Oh, so many.
Oh, it's mind-boggling.
It's ringing a bell. I'm forgetting that right moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many medicines, but what happens is when you isolate, you think, oh, I found the active ingredient, chemical component of the plant. Well, we will just take this out and replicate this synthetically. What we're forgetting is that the plant, like an essential oil, is filled with hundreds of chemical components, right? That have different, that from a holistic perspective, have versatile benefits on our physiology and psychospiritual aspects. And it's not just the one ingredient, right? And that's so often why with the pharmaceuticals, well, then we start to see side effects, because we don't have the full gamut of the chemical, the biochemical profile, right? The chemical constituents of the plants that were perfected in nature.
Right.
Wow, well said.
And for those listening who don't know, because I was shocked when I first learned, the reason the pharmaceutical companies make the synthetic version is because they can't legally patent anything found in nature. It's not that nature doesn't work as good. It's that they can't make any money on it. So, you know, that's another reason too. I always encourage people, you know, try to go for the least toxic solution first. You owe it to yourself to always try that. And if all else fails, you know, there is a place for Western medicine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
right.
interesting. So we talked about essential oils. We talked about smudging. This reminded me, we did a podcast, Heal Yourself with Music and Meditation. I believe it was episode 41. Can you explain the healing power that music and frequency and vibration offer?
Absolutely. So music, think about it. We all have either a favorite genre. When we hear a piece of music that resonates with us, what does it do? It lifts our spirits, our emotion, our outlook, right? If we think about the Mozart and Beethoven effect, cognitive function, focus, creativity, there are all of these aspects of vibration that are found through music. And when it connects with the brain, and specifically the limbic center, we have the ability to open aspects of our being, our mind and our body connection. And, you know, when I was first kind of awakening and coming into these fields, I had a friend and spiritual teacher that would play mantras in her home. Why do we do that? Well, we play the mantras because they carry a vibration, and that vibration helps to lift and clear the energy in our space. So the very similar can be found with the music, and also like the solfeggio, and I don't think I'm saying that correctly, but I bet you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Those specific tones, solfeggio, thank you, tones. I love playing those in the house when I'm just cleaning or working, and knowing that the vibration is affecting the entire environment and even the plants, right?
Yes.
We know that our plants.
What is your frequency number? What is it? 432?
I like that. I think 435, maybe 432. Love that. Yeah. My children love it too. Like without even knowing, my 8-year-old will come in. Oh, I just like it when this plays.
Oh, wow. Right. Because they're so
feels
connected,
good.
right?
Feels good.
Yeah. You do that, Ron. Even when you're working, you'll play it in the background on your computer.
Even if it's faint. Yeah. Because, you know, we're all vibration. And we know this from even the technical things that we've done, Lisa, with measuring
electromagnetic radiation
fields and everything too. And how, like, you know, we take on the vibration of our environment. So it's really not that far-fetched.
Like a tuning fork.
Like a tuning fork. So it's not far-fetched to believe the spiritual aspect that we're connecting to something that feels good. And we're more likely to have a higher percentage of an opportunity to have a more joyful experience in whatever we're doing. I like how you said too a while ago, Adora, when you're putting together these potions or whatever, the elixirs you're putting together, right?
Yeah.
You have an intent around them. And that really struck me a long time ago, listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer's book, The Power of Intention, right? So what does that mean? It means everything that you do in your life, whether you're picking up a phone call, whether you're going to the grocery store, whether you're driving, if you don't have an intent of the result you want from that experience, then the environment in the world is going to dictate what that experience is for you, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a strong intent of something happening, you have a higher probability, I want this phone call to be successful. This is important to me, or I want this conversation with my family relative to work out well. I want to envision it well. The power of intent. So strongly believe in that. And Adora, I love your work. Thank you so much for your time today. It was excellent.
We need you back.
Oh, I would love to come back. It was such a joy talking with you because you are so right, Ron. The power of intention engages everything, our energy, our neurons, our mind. And so I think that it's one of the most powerful tools that we have in life. And thank you so much for the wonderful conversation today.
Oh, thank you. We would love to have you back. There's so much more we need to touch upon.
Yeah, I would love it.
This was great. Thank you so much. And thank you for being with us today. Friends, remember, your soul work is your soul work, as Adora says.
I love that. That's really good. If you'd like to learn more about Adora, visit AdoraWinquist.com, where you can schedule a complimentary discovery session or attend her weekly Seeds of Spirit meditation and explore her new products. Book a private session such as an Akashic record reading. That sounds really exciting. Attend our retreat, which we talked about earlier, some wonderful plans coming up, and more. You can find her book at zenergymedicinals.com.
Yes, and we'll have all the links in the show notes at ronandlisa.com/podcast. Stay tuned next week, friends, and get ready to up-level your health. See you then. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.